He used to be my errand boy in my first year of high school. My old classmate Jake introduced me as such at a mixer I attended after graduating from high school. Sighing, I stood there as he recanted this as if it were some heroic tale. He then insisted we go to the after party, but when I refused, he grabbed my arm forcefully, saying, "Come on, I'm inviting you." Just at that moment, a man with prominent tattoos got out of a luxury car and confronted Jake. "Hey, kid, what do you think you're doing to this young man?" After that, Jake found himself in a whole lot of trouble. My name is Tom. I'm a typical introverted high school boy, wearing black-rimmed glasses and often hiding my expressions behind my bangs. I grew up in a household that was well known locally for being quite peculiar. In fact, I was raised in the kind of home where other kids were told, "You shouldn't play with him." As a result, I didn't have any friends during my elementary and middle school years. The reason for this stemmed from my father and our family home. During elementary school, I happened upon a local soccer club practice and was watching it when the coach invited me to join, asking, "Would you like to play with us?" But as I was about to start practicing, someone said, "Coach, you can't let him play." "That's right. We shouldn't hang out with Tom. My mom said so." I was told not to get involved with him. Others chimed in. To make matters worse, I overheard a parent watching the training say, "If he joins, I'll move my child to another team. It's better to be safe before anything happens." Essentially, I was the neighborhood outcast. Because of all this, I hated my father. We hardly speak now. During middle school, just walking down the hallway would make my classmates nervous, and this led to a lonely and unenjoyable school life. That's why, when it came time for high school, I deliberately chose a school far away. I was hoping for a fresh start in a place where no one knew me. The commute was nearly 3 hours one way, but I had to accept this as the condition for leaving my family home. I had envisioned a bright future, finally enjoying high school life. However, that bright future was shattered all too soon. After the entrance ceremony, I immediately fell and missed school. When I was finally able to return, about a week later, I found that cliques had already formed in my class. Moreover, most students at this high school had come from nearby middle schools, leaving me isolated as the newcomer who had missed the initial bonding. My dream of a bright high school life had crumbled to dust. Crushed, I resolved to just keep to myself and not dream any bigger. Being alone was nothing new to me. I just had to endure these 3 years quietly. I thought that as long as I kept a low profile, I wouldn't stand out, especially since I had always been introverted. But I soon faced two major issues. The first was that Maria, a girl who had also graduated from the same middle school and lived in my neighborhood, ended up in the same class, seated right next to me. While Maria and I had never been in the same class in middle school, she surely knew about my infamous family. I lived in fear of her revealing this to our classmates someday. Interestingly, the high school had a unique designer course, starting from the second year, similar to choosing between arts and sciences. This course has produced several famous designers in the past, and it is said that many students come to the school for this reason. Maria had apparently enrolled for the designer course at this school, and they happened to be in the same class and seated next to each other in the first year. After the entrance ceremony and class introductions, I nervously spoke to Maria, who was sitting beside me. "Maria, Tom, we went to the same middle school, right?" she said with a smile, looking lovely. But it was clear she knew we had shared the same school. You probably know about my family, but here, could you?" "Oh, of course, I won't say a word," she interrupted. "What?" I was taken aback by Maria's nonchalant response. Maria said reassuringly, "There's no need to tell anyone. Don't worry, I can keep a secret." She nodded confidently. Since then, Maria had been kind to me. We weren't exactly close, but we did chat occasionally. By the way, Maria was boarding near the high school. To be honest, this made me a bit envious. And then there was another problem. That was, "Hey Tom, go buy me a soda," demanded my classmate, Jake. Jake was quite the charmer, good-looking, academically gifted, and athletic. He was top of the social ladder in our class and even in our grade. I found myself running errands for him. I didn't know why, but one day he just started ordering me around. Thinking it was just a one-time thing, I complied, but that only encouraged him. He kept making these demands, and when I finally refused, he punched me in the stomach, saying, "You better listen to me." I was more shocked than hurt, as anyone who knew my family background would never dare treat me that way. "Just go and buy it," he insisted. I decided it was easier to just go along with it to avoid further trouble. Honestly, being an errand boy wasn't a big deal for me. I didn't want to stand out. I thought, if I stand out, people might find out about my family. But the problem is that I'm still slightly annoyed at being used as an errand boy. However, both of these problems were resolved by the end of my first year. In our second year, I chose the art stream. Maria went for the designer course, and Jake chose science, so we weren't in the same class anymore. Maria never revealed my family's background, and I kept to myself in the art stream, graduating from high school without much interaction with others. I didn't want to take over my family's business and was keen on leaving home, so I decided to get a job right after high school. I loved reading. I also had interest in the publishing and printing industry, so I joined a printing company. I moved out as soon as I graduated from high school and have been living alone ever since. 5 years after graduating, I was still working at the same printing company. One day, my co-workers accidentally asked, "Tom, can you go to a mixer in my place?" "Excuse me." I let out an unusual voice and was surprised by my own reaction. "Actually, there's a mixer this weekend, but my girlfriend found out, and now I can go." "Zach, going to a mixer when you have a girlfriend is not cool," I remarked. It was just a moment of weakness. I heard the ladies that are coming have great jobs and seem to be successful, and I kind of wanted to get to know them, he explained. "Is that so?" I was amazed at his mindset despite having a girlfriend. Well, I've never had a girlfriend, so I couldn't relate to his feelings. Then Zach glanced at me and pleaded, "Please, go in my place." "No way, that's impossible." This party was actually arranged for one of the guys because he wanted to meet a certain lady there. So I was just going to be there to make up the numbers. "All you have to do is just show up, please." Dak and I were about the same age, so it seemed like his request included that factor too. Despite my refusals, Zach was persistent. Eventually, I gave in and agreed to go to the mixer as a filler. The party was, oddly enough, at a restaurant in my hometown. I wondered why it had to be there, but having agreed to it, I felt a strange sense of obligation to attend. Then I remembered a recent message from my mom, saying she wasn't feeling well and asking me to visit home. I still disliked my family home, so I rarely went back since I started living alone. Well, since I'm going to be near home for the party, I might as well stop by afterward. Thinking this, I decided to inform someone about it. On the day of the mixer, I went to the meeting place Zach told me about, and to my surprise, there was Jake. "Tom, what are you doing here?" he exclaimed upon noticing me. I was stunned. Zach had mentioned the organizer was a guy named Jake, but I never expected it to be my old classmate Jake. "I'm here in place of Zach." "What? You're Zach's replacement?" he said, clearly surprised. "Dak is my senior at work. He asked me to fill in for him today," I explained. Jake muttered something under his breath, but I decided not to pay it any mind. Then, Jake suddenly told me, "Hey Tom, you know, I went through a lot of trouble to set up this party because I wanted to invite Maria. I've had my eye on her since high school, so don't mess it up for me. Apparently, Jake had been interested in Maria since our high school days. He had finally managed to get her to this mixer after much effort. His persistence was quite something. Just because you were in the same middle school doesn't mean you can get cozy with Maria. I haven't forgotten you two used to talk. Don't get in my way, he warned, although my interactions with her in freshman year weren't as close as he implied. Just occasional chats. Besides Jake and me, another participant, Chris, seemed to be a friend of Jake's. However, Chris was just there to make up the numbers, getting paid separately by Jake on top of his share of the costs. It was clear that Jake had put a lot of effort into this party. When we arrived at the venue, Maria and two other ladies were already there. Jake approached them, saying, "Sorry to keep you waiting." Then, Maria and I made eye contact. "Tom, it's been a while," she said. "Yeah, it has," I replied, my heart racing a bit. Maria had become even more beautiful over the past 5 years. She used to be more of the cute type in high school, but now she had matured into a stunning beauty. As soon as we entered the restaurant, everyone took their seats. The mixer began 3 ladies and 3 guys. We all raised our glasses for a toast and introduced ourselves. Right away, Jake pointed at me and said, "This guy, back in our freshman year of high school, he was like my errand boy," bragging about it as if it were some sort of achievement. "He still looks the same as back then, still the introvert," he added. "Yeah, he really does have that introvert look." The other 2 ladies besides Maria giggled as they seemed to mock me. Well, I was indeed an introvert in high school and still continued my style of black-rimmed glasses and bangs. My clothes weren't anything special either. In contrast, Jake was dressed quite elaborately, even wearing a gold necklace. He introduced himself as a university graduate preparing to start a business, but Chris quietly told me that he was actually still in university due to insufficient grades. Maria was working as a designer, and the other 2 girls worked at an apparel store. As Jake had claimed he was targeting Maria, he kept glancing her way while boasting about his heroic deeds. However, Maria herself didn't seem to be enjoying it at all, just sipping her juice throughout. You could tell she wasn't having fun just by the atmosphere. Jake kept making fun of me, and before we knew it, the 2-hour course meal was over, and we left the restaurant. My first mixer, but ironically, it wasn't fun at all. While Jake and the others were getting excited saying, "Let's have an after party," I thought it was enough to have attended the main event. I should visit my mom's place now. With that thought, I started to leave. Suddenly, Jake called out, "Hey, errand boy Tom, we're going to have an after party." To which I replied, "I can't go. I have something else to do." "What? There's nothing more important than an invitation from me," he retorted, grabbing my arm tightly. "Maria said she'll go if you come. Just come along," he insisted. I wondered why Maria would say something like that, but I had an important task to check on my mom. "I'm sorry, but I really have an unmissable task," I was about to explain. But suddenly a very deep voice interrupted us saying, "Hey kid." Turning towards the voice, I saw a group of about 5 intimidating-looking men. All dressed in black suits, one with a bald head and tattoos showing from under his clothing, another with a scar on his cheek and black sunglasses. "Let go of that man's arm," the leader with the scar demanded. Jake immediately turned pale and hastily let go of my arm. He stammered. "You little brat, don't get too cocky." Then, all 5 men turned to me and said, "Young master, we have come to pick you up." "I didn't need so many of you to come, but thank you for coming," I responded. "Hearing that the young master is here, we will come no matter where he is," they replied. "Young master," Jake sat down on the spot, his legs giving out. It's no surprise Jake reacted this way. As they called me, I am the young master. My family runs the mafia group Williams, and the group was famous in my hometown. My father is the current leader of the Williams. As his son, I am known as the young master, a title well known locally since my birth, as my father was already the leader by then. By the time I was born, my father was already the leader, so my position was well known in my hometown. Thanks to this, I was avoided in elementary and junior high school as the son of a mafia family, and I could not make friends. That's why I chose a high school where no one knew about me. Seeing Jake's reaction, I realized once again that choosing a distant high school was the right decision. Hey kid, the young master said he's not going, so don't try to force him. Besides, he has important matters to attend to right now. Don't get in his way. Justin, a notorious tough guy of the group known for his bald head and black suit, shouted at Jake, who was still on the ground, trembling like a leaf. Looking around, I saw that a crowd had gathered, and the two girls and Chris, who had come to the party, were gone, apparently having slipped away amidst the commotion. Shall we depart, young master? Yes, let's go, I agreed. I was following the group's head, Ken, to the car. A typical black luxury vehicle. Then, turning to Maria, I said, "Would you like a ride, Maria? We can drop you off if you'd like." "Really? That would be great, thank you," she replied. I hadn't realized it, but Maria had been there the whole time during the commotion. "You were here, Maria. How could you not notice, Tom? I've been here the whole time. I thought you might have run away, considering these mafia guys showed up." "I'm used to it, don't worry. Everyone from the Williams has always been kind to me." It seemed Maria wasn't afraid of mafia at all. Maria and I ended up sitting together in the back seat. She was getting along well with the group members, talking animatedly. Honestly, it seemed like she was even closer to them than to me. "Do you often visit my house, Maria?" I asked. "Actually, your mother often buys clothes I design. Because of that connection, I've been invited to your house and have always been treated kindly by everyone from the Williams," she explained. I was surprised by her words, unaware of this connection between her and my mother. Maria has become quite a popular designer lately. The master's wife has been saying how she misses not being able to see her as often. One of the members commented, "I've been too busy to visit recently, but if you're heading there now, can I come along?" Maria asked. Of course, the master's wife will be delighted. From this conversation, it was clear that Maria had a very good relationship with everyone from the Williams. Maria and I ended up heading to my family home together. "Sorry for not knowing, but you're quite famous, aren't you, Maria?" "Well, it's normal for guys not to know. I've only started to get more recognition recently." "Tom, have you heard of the girl group called Ice Girls?" "Of course, I know them. They're really popular right now. My company has printed some of their photo books." Ice Girls is arguably the most popular female band in the country. I think everyone young knows about them. All the members are, of course, cute, so their photo books are guaranteed to be a huge hit. They even release a group photo book annually. Actually, my company has been printing their photo books, which has significantly contributed to our sales, and I've been quietly supporting them. The clothes the members wear in those photo books, I designed them, Maria revealed. "What?" I was astonished. Maria just smiled. "I also designed their uniforms, and I recently started my own brand called Remay. I've even been selected to showcase my designs at next year's Paris collection. Of course, it will all be my designs," she added. "That's amazing." I was genuinely impressed. It felt like a story from a book, creating her own brand and going to the Paris collection. "Maria, you're really making your dreams come true. That's incredible." "I'm just doing what I want to do," she said modestly. "Doing what you want to do? You chose your current job too, right, Tom?" Because you like books, you joined a printing company. Yeah, that's right. I went into printing because I love books. So you're doing what you want to do, because if you hadn't, you would be in line to be the next head of the Williams, wouldn't you? Maria was right. I would be the next head of the Williams. But I'm not that strong in fights, and I didn't want to be the next master, so I'm doing the job I'm doing now. For some reason, Maria complimented me on that as well, saying, I think it's cool that you have a path for the future, and you're going your own way instead of choosing the one prepared. And sticking to your introverted style even at work, that's impressive, she said with a laugh. I blurted out, how do you know that? Indeed, I had maintained the same style since high school. I haven't seen Maria in about 5 years, so how does she know I work in this form? Actually, I visited your printing company a while ago to say thanks, Maria said. Really? I was surprised. I always appreciate the work your company does, so I thought I'd drop by. Print quality really varies between companies, and I think yours does the best job, she explained. I guess so, I replied, a bit overwhelmed. When I was there, I saw you working hard. Seeing you so dedicated was really cool, she added. My face turned red instantly. I wasn't used to such straightforward compliments. Young master, your face is all red. That's great. It's like something out of a youth drama. Maria, why don't you date the young master? If Maria became your girlfriend, even the master and his wife would be happy. The others teased, so I decided I'd have to talk to those guys later. It turned out my mom's poor health was just indigestion from overeating, so I left home soon after. Months later, Maria and I exchanged contact information and kept in touch. Then she confessed, I like you for being true to myself. By that time, I was deeply attracted to Maria, who was always enthusiastic and positive, even in the face of failure. After her confession, we officially started dating. Maria was usually all smiles, but one day she looked upset. What's wrong? I asked. Well, I've been getting persistent messages from Jake, she confessed. When I asked her for more details, she said that ever since that mixer, she had been receiving daily messages saying, I'm falling for you, I want you to go out with me, and so on. This seemed to continue even after she told him I like someone else. However, he never gives up and sends her text messages, saying I can definitely make you happier than any other guy. He also calls sometimes and says the same things over the phone, so she has been ignoring everything lately. I wonder how long this will go on, said Maria with a disgusted look on her face. I wanted to do something about Jake bothering Maria. One day, Maria and I were at a cafe. I stepped away to use the restroom. When I returned, I found Maria being bothered by someone. I've told you, I have a boyfriend now. Leave me alone, she insisted. But I'm better for you than he is. Come on, go out with me. I've liked you since high school. The man persisted. It was Jake who was bothering Maria. I was shocked to see him there. But I'm happier with my boyfriend than I could ever be with you, Maria responded firmly. Come on, just go on a date with me. I want to brag that I'm dating the popular designer Maria, Jake pleaded. He was grabbing her arm like he did at the mixer. That's when I quickly approached and placed my hand on Jake's shoulder. What do you think you're doing to my girlfriend? I smile at Jake, who turns around as if in a panic. Who are you? Jake was startled. It might be hard to recognize me, but I'm Tom, I revealed. What? That introvert Tom? That can't be. Jake was in disbelief. Maria styled me. Looks good, doesn't it? I said, referring to my new look. Maria had been styling me ever since we started dating. Her expertise as a designer had transformed my appearance, earning praise even at work. I also changed my hairstyle and started wearing contact lenses. As Maria has insisted, it suits you better. Lately, I'd even been scouted by talent agencies while walking down the street. "Just so you know, Maria and I are dating. If you keep bothering her, I might have to call my family again," I warned him. Remembering the previous incident, Jake turned pale and ran off, shouting, "No, I don't want any of that. Tom, thank you, you were so cool," Maria exclaimed. "Well, I did rely on my family in the end," I admitted. "It's enough. I don't think he'll bother me anymore." I laughed at the sight of Maria's happy and excited appearance. After that, Jake, perhaps out of frustration or spite, got involved with several women. This included a married woman, which led to a complicated mess. He faced an enormous amount of alimony and, in a desperate attempt to pay it off, borrowed money from loan sharks, only to be burdened with astronomical interest. He was forced to drop out of university and now works tirelessly from dawn to dusk, as Maria learned through the grapevine. Apparently, he had been using others as errand boys in university too, but when he needed help, no one was willing to lend a hand. Maria and I continued our relationship and are planning to get married next month. After seeing Maria bothered by Jake, I became determined to protect her. Kent took over as the leader of the Williams, and I am still working at the printing company. My parents wanted me to take over, but I said, "I don't want to take over. I will decide how to live my life by myself." They said, "That's fine, if that's what you want." Maria supported my decision, saying, "You should do what you want to do." I know that a predetermined future might seem easier, but it could lead to regret later. Rather than living with regret, I believe it's better to follow your own path, even if it goes against what others expect. After all, it's up to me to decide my life. There may be many challenges ahead, but I choose to pursue what I truly want, rather than making choices I might regret later.